Today, we're exploring a really critical area of healthcare innovation, medical sensors, specifically the ones designed for ICU monitoring. I mean, just imagine the kind of precision, the immediate impact these technologies have on patient outcomes, minute by minute in those really demanding medical environments. So our mission on this deep dive is to truly unpack the immense growth happening in this vital sector. We want to understand its current state, what's driving its trajectory, and what that means for the future of critical care. And all the insights we're drawing from today, they come straight from the detailed data provided by cognitive market research. These sensors, as you'll hear, are just fundamental for real-time patient insights. They enable accurate data collection, deliver life-saving alerts, absolutely crucial. So what's the overall picture we're looking at here globally? Well, the numbers, they really tell a compelling story. Cognitive market research reported that the global market for these ICU sensors was valued at $33.8 million back in 2021.
Right. And what's remarkable about that starting figure isn't just the sheer scale, but that it represents a specialized segment already operating at over $1 billion. It really underscores just how deeply integrated these technologies are in modern intensive care units, worldwide. It sets a pretty high baseline for what's coming next.
And it's only accelerating from there, right?
Definitely.
This market is projected to rise significantly, hitting $426.9 million by 2025. And then it really takes off, reaching a projected $718.36 million by 2033.
That trajectory, it reflects a robust compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 8.39%.
8.39%.
Yeah. And to put that into perspective, an 8.39% each AGR means this market is consistently growing year after year. It's effectively doubling its size roughly every 8 to 9 years. This kind of sustained acceleration, over a decade, it doesn't just happen by accident. It signals some fundamental shifts are underway. So that leads us to the crucial question, doesn't it? What underlying forces are fueling this impressive global expansion?
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. To understand those drivers, let's maybe zoom in on where this growth is particularly dynamic, starting with North America.
Makes sense. A major player.
Historically, yes. It recorded $441.433 million in 2021, and it's projected to more than double, hitting $1,109.99 million by 2033. That's at a healthy 7.982% CAGR. And within North America, the United States, maybe not surprisingly, leads the charge.
Right.
It accounted for $354.911 million in 2021, with projections hitting $879.842 million by 2033. That's growing at a 7.858% CAGR. But Canada and Mexico are also showing strong momentum. Canada is growing at 8.682% CAGR, and Mexico at 8.161%.
So what this tells us about North America is you've got a mature market that's still continuing to innovate and integrate these technologies deeply. The U.S. is a leader, sure, but coupled with that strong growth in Canada and Mexico, it points to a widespread and sustained commitment to upgrading ICU capabilities across the whole region. It feels less about initial adoption now and more about continuous enhancement, continuous improvement.
Okay, that makes sense. Continuous enhancement. So from North America, let's pivot over to Europe. This continent seems to be demonstrating a consistent blend of steady integration and maybe ongoing innovation, too.
Yeah, consistent is a good word for Europe here.
Europe's market generated $222.267 million in 2021. It's forecasted to climb to $551.827 million by 2033, growing at a pretty consistent 7.932% CAGR. Germany really stands out as a strong leader within Europe. It's projected to grow to $116.436 million by 2033 with an 8.656% CAGR. That's quite high for the region.
It is, yeah.
The UK and France also show significant growth, with BAGRs, in that 7-8% range. And beyond these key players, we're seeing widespread adoption across Italy, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, all contributing consistently to this region's expansion. Denmark, Russia, Luxembourg, too, all expanding.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, this broad-based growth across diverse European economies indicates that these ICU sensors, they aren't just some niche product anymore. They're really becoming a standard component of critical care infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's a clear sign of investment in improving patient outcomes right across the continent.
Right, becoming standard. Okay, now let's turn our attention to Asia Pacific. This region seems to present a particularly dynamic growth story.
Oh, absolutely. This is where things get really interesting in terms of speed.
It's showing the fastest growth trajectory globally. Started from $233.639 million in 2021, rises to $334.608 million in 2025, and then surges to an incredible 687.746 million by 2033.
Wow.
This remarkable acceleration is backed by the highest CGR of any region, a whopping 9.424%.
Nearly 9.5%. That's huge.
It is. And within Asia-Pacific, China leads with strong growth, naturally given the scale. But
Wow.
India tells an even more compelling story. It's showcasing an exceptional 10.218% CAGR.
Over 10%?
Yeah. That's a truly rapid expansion. It seems to reflect this monumental leap forward in addressing maybe long-standing healthcare needs and really modernizing critical care infrastructure there.
Definitely.
Other significant contributors include Japan and South Korea, and we're also seeing strong momentum in Singapore, Southeast Asia generally, and Taiwan, all with high KGRs too.
You know, the sheer velocity of growth in Asia Pacific, especially in markets like India and China, it isn't just about the numbers. It really points to a massive unmet needs finally being addressed. And increasing investment in healthcare infrastructure on a scale, frankly, we haven't seen elsewhere, it suggests a significant transformation in critical care capabilities is happening, and that impacts a huge percentage of the global population.
A real transformation. Okay, let's quickly touch on the other regions.
Sure.
Shifting to South America, the market there generated $62.028 million in 2021. It's set to increase to $169.136 million by 2033. That reflects an 8.703% CAGR. So strong growth there too.
Still very healthy growth, yes.
Brazil leads, projected to reach over $65 million by 2033. Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're all showing healthy growth rates too, between about 8.1% and 9.2%.
Yeah.
And the Middle East market, also demonstrating dynamic expansion. It was valued at $51.69 million in 2021, forecasted to reach $139.099 million by 2033. That's growing at an 8.582% CGR.
Right, and places like Saudi Arabia and the UAE really stand out there.
Exactly. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are particularly strong contributors, with CGRs over 8.6%, even over 9% for the UAE, showcasing significant regional investment. Turkey, Egypt, Qatar also contributing. And finally, Africa. While starting from a smaller base, it is showing steady momentum. Its market is projected to grow from $22.744 million in 2021 to $61.462 million by 2033. That's at a 7.726% CAGR, led by countries like South Africa, which has an even higher CGR itself. Nigeria follows.
So steady progress there as well.
Okay, so we've seen these remarkable numbers, consistent growth across pretty much every corner of the globe. But beyond the figures, what does this all mean for you, the listener, whether you're in healthcare admin or medical device R&D, maybe even an investor? Why is this particular market seeing such a, well, transformational surge?
That's the key question, isn't it? And this isn't just about general market expansion. It really feels like a perfect storm created by several converging critical factors.
Okay, like what?
Well, firstly, we're witnessing rapid technological advancement in the sensor capabilities themselves. Just think about it.
Right.
We're moving towards smaller, more precise sensors, often non-invasive ones like, smart patches, or even sensors integrating AI for predictive analytics based on real-time patient data.
Predictive analytics. Okay.
Yeah, this allows for earlier intervention, more nuanced monitoring. Huge potential there.
Makes sense. What else?
Secondly, there's just a global rise in healthcare investments. Governments, private entities, they're increasingly prioritizing robust healthcare systems. And that includes equipping ICUs with the latest tech to improve patient outcomes and also operational efficiency.
So more money flowing into healthcare tech.
Exactly. Then you have to consider the aging populations worldwide. As demographics shift, more people are requiring intensive care services for complex chronic conditions. That naturally increases the demand for these advanced monitoring solutions.
A demographic factor.
Right. And finally, kind of tied to that, we're seeing a general increase in ICU admissions overall. This is often driven by more sophisticated medical procedures becoming available and maybe a higher prevalence of critical illnesses in some populations.
Okay, so multiple factors pushing this forward.
Precisely. So these factors combined, they aren't just driving growth in the number of units sold. They're fundamentally reshaping how critical care is actually delivered. And this raises an important question, I think. How do these combined drivers transform not just the market itself, but the very capabilities of hospitals and ultimately the standard of patient care moving forward?
Right, reshaping care delivery. So to sum it all up then, what we've seen today seems pretty clear. The medical sensor market for ICU monitoring isn't just growing, it's really poised for transformational growth. Across all global regions, it's a truly globally evolving space, driven by these significant interconnected trends that are, as you said, redefining critical care.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for listeners to consider. As this market continues its explosive growth, think about how these advancements in medical sensors might not only transform ICU care,
Yeah.
moving from just reactive management to truly proactive, data-driven interventions,
Hmm.
but also potentially impact the very definition of preventative and personalized medicine in the coming decades. It's a field that truly promises to reshape how we approach health, fundamentally for everyone.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting up to speed without drowning in data. Today, we're taking a really fascinating plunge into medical sensors for ICU monitoring. Our mission? Simple. We'll pull out the key insights from the source material for you. We want to help you understand why real-time patient care and intensive care is just so critical right now, and, well, how technology is genuinely changing the game. So let's start with something that feels obvious, but is actually, profoundly important: the indispensable role of real-time monitoring in ICUs. I mean, it's about saving lives, right? Plain and simple. But maybe dig a bit deeper. What's really driving this intense need for constant oversight?
Well, yeah, it fundamentally comes down to that urgent need for immediate, continuous monitoring. We're talking vital signs, heart rate, SpO2, blood pressure, the basics. But the key thing in the ICU is you need extreme precision. And crucially, the ability to spot really subtle physiological changes, like instantly.
Instantly. Okay, so it's about speed and subtlety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That capability lets clinicians jump in proactively. It basically buys them time, valuable time. It can turn what could be a crisis into something they can manage, long before maybe a nurse or a doctor would spot it just by looking.
Ah, I see. So it improves outcomes that way?
Significantly. Yeah. It improves patient outcomes and dramatically cuts the risk of complications. It's foundational.
That real-time vigilance, yeah, sounds like a total game changer.
Yeah.
And it's not just about those individual vitals in isolation, is it? If we zoom out a bit, this must tie into the bigger health picture, right? We keep hearing about the rise in chronic conditions,
Mhm.
cardiovascular disease, respiratory problems, sepsis. That's got to be putting immense pressure on ICUs everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. You've hit a critical point there. These advanced sensors, they've really shifted from just being, helpful tools to being absolutely essential for managing these growing global health issues.
Essential how, specifically?
Well, their role in giving those early alerts, providing really data-rich insights that empowers the healthcare teams. They can make incredibly timely interventions, and that translates directly, really directly, into better survival rates in the ICU. So yeah, they're indispensable now, given the complexity we're facing.
Okay, indispensable. Now, speaking of transformation,
Mm.
what about the sensors themselves?
Mm.
The actual devices. I mean, it feels like just yesterday that miniaturization and wireless tech felt like science fiction. What's the real impact of making these things smaller, cutting the cords, especially in a busy ICU?
It's pretty remarkable, actually, how far we've come. These leaps, they've truly revolutionized sensor design. We're seeing compact, non-invasive options now that are just ideal for the ICU setting.
Less cumbersome for the patient, I imagine.
Definitely less discomfort, yes. But it also promotes mobility, which is huge for recovery. And it can even help reduce something called ICU delirium, that confusion patients get.
Oh, interesting. Didn't know that connection.
Yeah, it's linked to faster recovery, shorter hospital stays. It's often overlooked, but it's a massive factor. Plus, these wireless technologies, they integrate seamlessly with the hospital's monitoring systems, so that streamlines workflows for the staff, boosts efficiency, and crucially, the accuracy of patient management.
Wow. Okay. So better for the patient and better for the hospital staff. That's a powerful combination. We've painted this picture of incredible potential, almost like, yeah, sci-fi becoming real. But
Yeah.
like with any big tech leap, it's never quite that simple, is it? The path to getting it everywhere. What are the real roadblocks, the significant restraints holding back wider use of these advanced systems?
That's a very important question. And yeah, there are definitely hurdles. One of the big ones is simply the high cost of deployment, getting these advanced sensor systems up and running.
It's not just buying the sensor itself then.
No, no. The investment is substantial. You're talking infrastructure upgrades, you need integrated digital platforms,
Yeah.
the whole ecosystem. And that can be a major barrier, right? Especially for, say, smaller hospitals or facilities in developing countries working with tighter budgets.
Okay, cost is a big one. What else?
Then there's the whole data privacy and security piece. That's a growing concern. As these sensors get more connected, often using cloud platforms, well, the risk goes up.
Cyber threats. Data breaches.
Exactly. Protecting sensitive patient info, making sure you're meeting all the strict regulations like IPA, that's now a critical part of adopting these systems. Adds layers of complexity.
Right. Compliance and security. Makes sense. Anything else significant?
And finally, yeah, there's the sheer complexity of just keeping them running accurately. Maintenance and calibration. These are high precision instruments. They need regular, really careful calibration and upkeep.
So you need specialized staff for that.
You do. Skilled technicians, a real commitment to long-term technical support. If you let that slide, you could seriously compromise the quality of care, even lead to critical monitoring errors. It's high stakes.
So cost, security, maintenance complexity.
Yeah.
Definitely significant hurdles. But despite all that, it's clear the market is moving incredibly fast.
Yeah.
So what are the most exciting, maybe the most impactful emerging trends you see shaping the future here? Where are we heading next?
Well, one major trend that's really changing the landscape is integrating AI, artificial intelligence, and predictive analytics.
Okay, AI. How does that work in this context?
It's not just about flagging a problem that's happening now. It's using historical data plus the real-time feed to actually forecast potential decline.
Forecast. Like predict problems before they happen.
Precisely. Before they become critical. Imagine a system that flags an issue but also compares it to, say, millions of other cases and suggests the most likely next complication. It gives clinicians a sort of crystal ball, a diagnostic shortcut they've never really had.
Wow. So it's moving towards predictive precision care.
Exactly. That's the phrase. A new era of predictive, precision-based care. It's really powerful stuff.
Okay, AI is one. What else is emerging?
Another big shift is towards wearable and non-invasive sensor tech. We see this being particularly significant for sensitive groups like in pediatric or neonatal ICUs.
Makes sense. Less disruptive for babies and children.
Totally. These devices allow that continuous monitoring, but without compromising comfort as much. That makes them ideal for those patients, and it's driving adoption just because they're convenient and reliable. It's about bringing that hospital-grade monitoring to the patient as gently as possible.
Wearables and non-invasive.
Got it.
Any other major trends?
And yeah, tying into all this connectivity, we're seeing the expansion of remote ICU models, tele-ICU.
So monitoring patients from a distance?
Kind of. ICU sensors link up to centralized hubs. You can have intensivists, critical care specialists, supervising patients across multiple hospitals, maybe even multiple locations simultaneously.
Ah, so it helps with staffing shortages.
Exactly. It directly tackles the shortage of skilled ICU professionals in many areas. And it helps ensure that expert care, 24/7, regardless of where the hospital actually is. It brings top-tier expertise to places that might not normally have it.
Okay, so AI, wearables, remote monitoring, quite a picture of the future. So let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean for the future of critical care? This deep dive, it really shows the medical sensor market for ICUs is evolving incredibly fast. We're going from, smart, connected, predictive systems all the way to these super patient-friendly wearable designs. The whole sector seems really poised to enhance critical care like never before.
Absolutely. And as the industry keeps innovating, as we figure out ways to tackle those challenges like cost and data security, and as things like AI and telemedicine become more mainstream, yeah, the future of ICU monitoring looks not just promising, but genuinely intelligent. Integrated.
Right. Which leaves us, and you listening, with maybe one final thought to chew on. How might this increasing intelligence, these remote capabilities we've talked about, how might they fundamentally reshape not just how we deliver critical care, but maybe the very definition of what patient supervision even means in the years ahead?